You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
So it's been a big week if you haven't been paying attention in the wrestling world. There has been a lot of stuff going on. A lot of rumors have been swirling. And what are you going to do about it? Well, I can tell you what you can do about it. You can go online and you can research this yourself. Or I just happen to know a group of fellas that do an audio podcast. So you can cue those bastards up in your ear, multitask, learn about all the great speculations that are happening in the wrestling world while you're doing other stuff like the dishes or working or driving around. What fortuitous circumstance be this? It's the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast, and we're going to do wrestling talk because there's so much of it. So shut up, strap in, let's go. Poot the Bard is here. Ransom the Madman is here. Tiger Bomb Tom, he's delivering packages. He's not here. But you know who is here? The best damn Cruiserweight champ there ever was. And that man is Beef the Legend. He's here to grace us with his championship presence. And before we get into all the rumors and speculation, I have a stump the chumps for you two.
Oh,
here we go. It's gonna be short, so you're gonna have to shotgun out a guess because we're not gonna spend too much time on this. What WWE, WCW, and TNA superstar was in a Thor movie? Answers, please. I gave you all the hints I'm given. WWE, WCW, TNA.
Thor movie.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm torn between Booker T or Sting.
Well, which one of those did you guys see in a Thor movie? Think about him.
Wait. No, he wasn't TNA.
Scott Steiner. I don't know. Big Papa Pump. That's my guess.
All right, Beef says Scott. Who did he play, Beef?
Probably
Random jabroni number 4. Who knows? Poot?
Probably.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Booker T.
What character did he play?
Thor's missing eye.
Wrong. Kevin Nash starred in a B-movie ripoff of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Thor. The movie was called Almighty Thor, and
God.
Kevin Nash played Odin Allfather.
That's fucking right. God, the second that you said that, I was like, fuck.
I could not. I never heard of this movie. We went back and I was introducing my Micah and Tara to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies since we just watched the No Way Home. And one of the recommendations, if you go into that movie on, I think, what is it, Peacock? I think they're on Peacock. One of the recommendations is Almighty Thor. And I went, what the hell is this? I don't think I've ever heard of that. And that little quick preview that came up, I'm looking at the guy and I'm like, oh, what's happening here? Is that Kevin Nash? Sure enough, Kevin Nash plays Odin Allfather.
Is that the Super Shredder?
Yeah, like, what is that? Is that the Russian guy from The Punisher? What's happening here? Dear Lord in heaven, speaking of Russians and Punishers, this has nothing to do with that. But boys, we have a lot of shit to cover. Do you want to cover the impending doom of the chair? Hottest women superstars to walk the face of the modern era. What are we covering first?
If it isn't my own, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions coming back to haunt me.
Oh, it's Vince McMahon talk.
Vince McMahon, man.
So for anybody that doesn't know, a story was recently circulated throughout the interwebs that allegedly the board of directors for WWE have gotten their hands on some sort of documents or evidence or something or other stating that Vince McMahon paid some former WWE female employee 3 big ones in hush money for a non-disclosure agreement after having an extramarital affair with said employee in what, 2019?
I believe that's the date.
Oh no.
I mean,
Oh.
let's all take a minute for our shock and awe. Anyway, I
Well,
mean,
good point.
you know, lecherous old men are lecherous. That's the real story here. You know, he had an on-screen angle where he fondled Trish Stratus constantly. So
Oh
like, let me contain my shock.
dear.
You know, it's difficult because this is all alleged at this point, but at the same time, like, you know, you know, you fucking know it's been stolen. Yeah, we know he's guilty. The question is whether or not anything is going to actually stick to him.
So that's the thing. I was talking to our good friend Bob316 about this.
Oh yes, the lawyer Bob.
And
Go on.
Bob is convinced, like, this is it. He's done. Like, Vince is done because it's a publicly traded company. The board of directors are not going to put up with this type of stuff when it can affect stock pricing and all this thing. Like this is it. Like, the steroid scandal was one thing, but they were a private company then. So he was good. Like, he can get away with it, whatever. But Bob thinks that this is the downfall of Vince McMahon, because if the board of directors finds that, like, oh, your poor decision making is affecting our stocks, and you paid off this girl with any WWE money and not your own money, the nail's in the coffin. I am not so sure. Vince is slipperier than slime.
Yeah, man.
This dude can get out of anything. If anything happens, John Laurinaitis is going to take the fall.
Yep.
Vince is going to make some sort of half-assed apology, shovel it under the rug, move on.
So, go ahead,
Oh, this is so bad.
Go ahead, Poot.
I just think that there's a lot. I don't know about you, Beef, but I've seen a lot of like conspiracy theory-y stuff because of the Sasha Banks thing and having this like pull away from Vince McMahon's fucking, you know, hush money that he's paying out and like all this kind of shit. But like this might be the thing that fucking takes down VKM. He has gotten away with fucking murder. Quite literally, I would believe, maybe if you believe some of the things in case. But like this seriously, because this is big. This is big. This is, especially in the climate of the times that we're in, I don't think this is something that can just go the fuck away. I don't think this is something that Vince McMahon can wave his grapefruits at and make it go away. I don't. I think that this is going to be something that is going to be a slow burn and a slow roll. I think it's going to be something that's going to, that might bite him in the fucking keister. If not completely oust him from his empire, I think it will at least make it have to be he's a figurehead.
It's very yellow outside. I don't like when it's yellow outside.
Yeah, man.
It unnerves me. Go on, Ransom.
You're right. It's
fucking
here
piss
too.
outside. It's piss.
I was looking at it thinking like, is this tornado time? Like, what do we got? If so, and you hear a big whoosh and a ha, that's me getting sucked up into the piston. So I'll be cackling the whole way up and the whole way down. Suck it, nature. Here's the thing. Like, here might be his slippery, slimity, get me outie card. If Vince McMahon didn't use any WWE money, if he used all his own hush money, there's not really much the board can do because he's still the principal owner. So, like, he still owns all the shares. So the board can't force him out because he has the majority shares. or he's like the majority owner of the board or whatever. So they can't force him out. They can pressure him to resign and leave, but they can't force him out, to my knowledge. But if he used any WWE money and not his own personal, like, haha, that could be a super big problem for him.
So here's the thing. He has, so regardless of whose money, and yes, that you know, and this is, you know, well, welcome to fucking legal talk with three jackasses who don't know what they're talking about. But like, you know, whether or not it's his money or not, he has what's called a fiduciary responsibility to those shareholders. To the other shareholders, whether you own one stock of World Wrestling Entertainment,
Beef's using banking terms over here. Fucking fiduciary.
10,000. He has a responsibility to them. Yeah, how you doing? He has a responsibility to them to make sure that their interest is being looked after. If the shareholders' interests aren't being looked after, I think that is, you know, the WWE is murky, being that it is a publicly traded company, but also owned by Vince McMahon. Like the whole thing is just fucking weird. But at the end of the day, I believe that he'll probably get away because he is just like fucking Teflon Don. Like nothing fucking sticks to him. He is great at getting out of it, out of everything. But this also reminds me a lot of the Penn State thing that happened, you know, what feels like fucking eons ago, where, like, you know, that whole fucking regime could have fucking crumbled. And, you know, Joe Paterno was ousted from his job and then died like 3 months later.
Wasn't that underage stuff? Wasn't that the problem?
Yes.
So this person wasn't, though, right?
Right. No. So there wasn't like a literal connection. I'm saying like
okay.
It's foreboding in that I believe that whether or not Vince McMahon is ousted from the company, whether or not Vince McMahon resigns, I think that this may be, you know, one step closer to the grave for him sooner than later, because, you know, we've all seen Vince McMahon recently. We know how he is, and you know, we know what the reports tell us, like how crazy he is, how he doesn't fucking sleep, how all he does is fucking work out and like work on WWE. You know, at some point, something is going to be that last push. And you know, if it's not being fucking under investigation for a $3 million hush money deal, I don't know if anything's ever going to crack Vince McMahon.
So I think it could go one of two ways here, though. Honestly, I could see it going that route if he winds up either having to, or being forced to, or being pushed out. Like if he's ousted by hook or by crook one way or another, I think that's it, because that's his entire life. And if he doesn't have that, he has nothing. He's done. He withers away rapidly, and he's gone.
Again, just like Joe Paterno, the minute that he was out as coach, like 3 months later, he was dead.
Yep.
But I think until that happens, Vince McMahon is probably going to be stronger than ever. This dude's like Ra's al Ghul from Batman the Animated Series in the fucking Lazarus Chamber, regenerated himself.
Fucking accurate analogy.
Right? Like, that's a callback. He thrives on competition and winning. So it's not going to be the battling that leads up to it. It's all going to be about the outcome. If he's ousted or forced to resign, he's done. I think he'll shrivel up and wither away. If he beats this and he stays in power, and even if he has to make some sort of, you know, public statement or apology or whatever, he's still going to come out victorious because he's still going to be in charge. He's still going to be the man. He's still going to get off with a slap on the wrist. And if that happens, we have at least 30 more years of Vince McMahon, because that will regenerate his old, crippling, decaying body and just fuel him with power. Ha ha! I've done it again. Ha 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 ha! Like he'll go on forever.
He'll go Super Saiyan. He'll go full Super Saiyan.
Yeah, man. Like he'll Kamehameha all the board into nowhere. He'll pull a Norman Osborn and he'll pumpkin bomb their ass, and they're done. Do you know how much they've sacrificed? You can't. Yeah, out am I? No, I'm telling you, if Vince beats this, the man will outlive all of us because it'll just the victory will fuel him.
Here's the other side of this. Like, this is one situation that we know about.
Well, reportedly, there have been multiple NDAs that have come to light over misconduct by both Vince and John Laurinaitis.
I'm wondering if this is going to be a Deshaun Watson situation where, like, one person had the courage to stand up, and all of a sudden, fucking 25 more come out of the woodwork.
He fucking mentioned John Laurinaitis, and all I'm imagining is, oh, you want to keep your job, baby?
Why don't you get on these nuts? Ride that D, bitches.
So here's kind of the crux of it.
Lord.
I've heard, and again, I don't know, who fucking knows anything anymore, but like it's possible that he used his own money, and if he did, like there's no legs to it, unfortunately, and also, like, this is a fucking hush money deal. Like, that means that someone took money to make this go away, to say, okay, yeah, let's bury it. How did this come back up? Because here's the other side of it. Whoever is the other party that took the money, because they signed that agreement, they can't say shit.
Yeah,
because of what they signed.
But the thing is, I think it would damage things so much that it would be cataclysmic. It would. Like, even if he did get away with it, and technically everything was on the up and up, and I'm using that very fucking loosely, mind you.
I can feel the air quotes.
Yeah. Oh, they were actually there. The thing is, I think it will damage him to the point where if WWE just keeps letting him do his thing, it will hurt the company so fucking bad that people who give them a lot of money and are sponsors and are all these things will go, yeah, don't know if I want to be part of this.
Well, yes, that's a possibility. That's one possibility. But if attention is pulled away from this, like if this doesn't get a whole lot of media coverage, or it gets some media coverage now, and then a month later, you don't hear anything about it. If, the air quotes are flying again, if technically he didn't do anything wrong, if it's just not being talked about anymore in like a big enough circle to where it could hurt sponsors, I think as long as again, money talks. So as long as the money's there, as long as WWE keeps pulling in that money, and the sponsors keep seeing, positive in the green, I think they stay.
Here's an amazing tweet, by the way. Here's your 2022 wrestling recap so far. Shane McMahon comes back, gets fired. Cody leaves AEW, comes back to WWE. Triple H has a health scare, no longer in charge of NXT. Tony Khan buys Ring of Honor. Stone Cold has a match at WrestleMania. Jeff Hardy leaves WWE in a weird way. MJF is being MJF. Stephanie steps down. Sasha Banks and Naomi walk out. Jeff Hardy gets arrested again. This allegation maybe Sasha being released, and it's fucking June. We're halfway through the fucking year.
Yeah.
You did nuts.
You said something interesting that made me think about it. Like, So Stephanie stepped down, a month or so ago?
Not even, I don't think.
So these allegations allegedly were brought to the board of directors' attention in April. A month, maybe a month and a cup of coffee later, Stephanie McMahon steps down out of the blue, out of nowhere. Nobody knew at the time. Like,
Isn't
it was
that
a
a
big
fucking
shock.
coincidence?
Like, yes. Like, oh, Stephanie McMahon suddenly steps down. Well, why on earth did Stephanie step down? What's going on? What's happening? And then it comes to light. Oh, the board of directors are investigating Vince McMahon for this $3 million hush money payoff. And Stephanie McMahon just happened to be on said board of directors. Isn't that a giant coincidence?
Uh-huh. I read something interesting. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like, obviously everyone's like, oh, hey, Steph stepping down to take care of her family because Triple H, blah, blah, blah. But, like, it seems like there's more of a ulterior thing at play here. And, it would not shock me if there are way more layers to this than we know about.
Yep.
Man, I just, this is so fucking crazy. This whole thing. I just don't think Vince has it in him to fight this kind of a legal battle at his age. I just don't. The stress that he has put himself under for the last 40, 50 years, at some point something's going to give. I just don't think I just don't.
His whole heart just goes.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm not trying to be fucking morbid, and like I know we constantly bag on Vince McMahon, but I mean, at the end of the day, we don't really wish anybody to die. Like, that's not what we want.
Do we?
But like, I don't. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like this is like taking your car out that has like 320,000 miles and being like, you know what? She's probably good for one more trip. Like, maybe, yeah, you kept her in her garage for 5 years. Yeah, you've gotten her oil changed every 30,000 like you're supposed to. And yeah, you've tuned her up every time you can. But like, sometimes cars just die. Like, that's the fact of things. And
just like people.
Exactly. Sometimes people, like, I don't care how fucking fit you are, how healthy you are, how healthy you eat, whether you've never eaten a fucking taco in your life or whatever the fuck it is.
You haven't fucking lived then, but okay.
Whether you don't sneeze, I don't care. Like, regardless how much fucking control you think you have, nobody outruns death. So I don't know, man. Like, that's...
Beef, are you saying whether you're a king or a lowly street sweeper, sooner or later you dance with the Reaper?
Damn right.
Look, the thing you have to pay attention to here, though, is the Vince Mobile has the top-of-the-line mechanic in Jerry McDivitt.
It's true.
This dude's lawyer is top shelf in the lawyering department. So really, it's Jerry McDivitt's battle. Vince just has to pretty much say to him, like, hey, I stay. Got it? Go do it. And he sends his minion, Jerry McDivitt, out into the world to fight his battle for him. And Vince carries on the day-to-day, business as usual.
Yeah, that's the plan. I read that he's planning on being at SmackDown tomorrow night. Yep. You know what? Like, I understand how big of a control freak he is, and I get that. But my God, man, like, this is not the time to be proud. Like, if you're under this kind of fucking scrutiny and investigation, duck your head in the sand and fucking play it cool for a little while. and I know that that's not Vince McMahon. I know that's not what he would do. But honestly, I think that this is just karma. This is just karma catching up.
Maybe.
This is like fucking Capone getting busted for tax fraud. I've seen that many times. This is the equivalent of that, except for way worse.
So I read an interesting conspiracy theory, and I didn't put it in the group chat because I wanted to wait to discuss it here on the podcast.
Oh, I love ransom conspiracy theories. They're always so good.
Yeah, so
it's
cuddle up.
No gay frogs, right?
No, cuddle up next to your gay frogs. Here we go. Strap in.
Right.
This is Alex Jones, J. Jonah Jameson type conspiracy theory. Speaking of which, a little off topic here real quick. I love how in No Way Home, J. Jonah Jameson starts out in like an apartment with a green screen behind him.
Yep.
Straight up MCU ripoff of Alex Jones.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely loved it. Was probably one of the best things about that movie for me. In any case, this conspiracy theory is based around the idea that Nick Khan has been wanting the reins to the Empire for a while and is tired of outweighting Vince. And Nick Khan knew about all this and just said, you know what? What happens if I leak this? What happens if it's not one of the people that actually signed an NDA? But what if it's one of the people that knew about it? And Nick Khan leaked this to the board in an effort to get Vince McMahon outed. So when Vince McMahon goes away, Nick Khan takes over the running of the business part. Somebody else will handle the, like on-screen thing. Maybe Triple H, maybe Steph comes back. Who knows? I don't think he cares about that. I think Nick Khan wants the keys to the Empire. Well, this conspiracy theory thought Nick Khan wants the keys to the Empire and is the one that secretly leaked this to the board in an effort to take over for Vince.
I think
Legs to this conspiracy theory or not? Like, is this tinfoil or is there a possibility?
I think one of my favorite wrestling-related memes the last couple of months has been the Nick Khan advancing up the Mortal Kombat tower.
Oh God, yeah.
First he passes Triple H, then he fucking passes Johnny H, then he passes Stephanie McMahon, then he passes Shane McMahon. Now he's fucking passing Vince McMahon. Yeah, man. I don't know. This corporate espionage is fucking television shit. But I'll tell you what. If he was smart, he wouldn't have done it. He would have had a trusted confidant do it. That way there were no fucking ties to him whatsoever. That way he can disavow all knowledge. I didn't do it. I don't know who did it. I have no idea.
He might have. I think this article didn't specifically state Nick Khan went to the board and gave them all this information. This article basically said Nick Khan orchestrated the release of it. So whether that's through a third party or what, but I think you're right, and I think if he did leak it, he leaked it through somebody who leaked it through somebody, so that there was a very long chain for someone to try to travel to get the whole way back to him. You know what I mean? I think that would have been the smart play, and I think Nick Khan's probably smart enough to go all right, I'm going to weave my web here, so that it's real hard for someone to get the whole way back to the cheese.
You know what? The thing about this is this doesn't just sound like, it sounds like a conspiracy, to be perfectly honest with you. It sounds like a conspiracy theory, but the problem is it doesn't sound improbable. That's the thing. Nope. At first, if it was something with Nick Khan and it was it's oh, okay, this is gone, this is, it's oh, okay, that's just a weird coincidence. But things keep lining up to where you go, all right, Can we get the intern Johnny on this, please? Can he look into this? Okay. I don't think it's real. I'm just saying we should give it, a little bit of credence. Just eyeball it.
Sure.
We're spitballing here,
You have to go back to the age-old adage of who benefits. If Vince gets ousted, who stands to benefit the most from Vince McMahon being removed or pressured into resigning, whatever? And I think that person is Nick Khan. I think he stands
100%.
to benefit the most.
100%. And is it better without Vince? Maybe. Maybe Nick Khan just keeps doing the same fucking thing, man. Like who knows? But I'll tell you, like could this be the crumbling? Yeah, absolutely. It would not shock me if this is Vince's undoing. I do believe that he's slimy enough to get out of it, but at the same time, like Poot said, in today's climate, like James Gunn was canceled for tweets that he made fucking 10 years ago before he was even fucking famous.
Dude, you're seeing it happen more and more and more and more with the people get thrown under the bus for stuff they did when they were quote unquote young, dumb, and full of cum, as they say.
And
seriously,
anybody say that?
Like,
but I think it all.
You've
depends,
never heard
though.
anyone say that? Seriously?
No.
That's
No.
not a colloquialism you guys have heard?
No, man.
No, it's not.
No, fuck.
But
well,
look,
you know what? Small town Clearfield, fuck you.
I think it all depends on the who, if we're going to be completely honest, because
like Pete Townsend.
Look at that, kind of. But look at that documentary of the plane ride from hell. That's just one of the things that Ric Flair has done over the course of his career, and he's still out there. Sure, he's not been back in WWE. AEW has no use for a geriatric old man. Another geriatric old man. But, like, Ric Flair hasn't been canceled. He's still in the zeitgeist. He's still doing stuff. You can still see all of Ric Flair's shit on the WWE Network and on Peacock and all that. You can still see it everywhere. So Flair wasn't canceled after multiple sources on this documentary came out and said he exposed himself and pressured a flight attendant to touch his bing bong bang.
I mean, yeah, but he kind of was, though, because he had a fat contract with WWE doing fucking nothing. And WWE was like, nope, we're not dealing with this. And yeah, sure, he can go and fucking get ending bookings. Congratulations, you made $300 on your Saturday night. Good job, Rick. I'm sure that'll take care of your fucking town car and your flight back to fucking Charlotte.
Woo,
yeah.
The wrestling world, though, the wrestling world is its own little universe. And this all stems from another article that I read. Wrestling doesn't get a very lengthy spotlight in the mainstream media.
You're right.
Like, sources will cover this for a little bit, and then something else will happen in the world. The world, other than Vince McMahon's universe, is a very big place.
Mm-hmm.
And for the mainstream media to focus on Vince McMahon and WWE for a prolonged period of time is unlikely to happen. Like, Hollywood is bigger than WWE. So that's why the James Gunn thing got as much as attention and as long of an attention span that it did, because Hollywood's a bigger machine than WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, the wrestling world's it's a niche place. So if the mainstream media loses focus on this, if their attention gets diverted elsewhere, and the major news sources outside of the internet wrestling community stops talking about this, that the likelihood of Vince McMahon getting away with this just grows and gets bigger.
Yeah, man.
If there's constant media attention and constant pressure, what happened?
I was gonna say, unfortunately, you're right. That's the sad part, is that you're right. If mainstream media doesn't latch onto this, but the thing is, think about all the mainstream media hits that Vince McMahon has been part of, the steroid trials, the whole thing with Chris Benoit, any kind of things, like Beef said, it's the Teflon Don effect, man. He just has been untouchable. But even Achilles had one spot on his body that fucking killed him.
That's true. I mean, this could be Vince McMahon's Achilles. But I don't know, like the dude has gotten away with so much. Like he's gotten away with so much. And plus there's another fall guy in it too now.
Well, I think that they can both fall. I think honestly, this is a situation where they like ride or die together. Like, I don't think that this is anything where somebody finds Johnny Ace guilty and doesn't find Vince McMahon guilty. Like, I think that this is kind of like a one and done situation. Like, if one is guilty, I think that they both are going to be under that knife with good reason.
Sure. I mean, yeah, you're right. But if a deal is struck to appease the shareholders, they could get rid of Johnny Ace under different auspices. Like they could let Johnny Ace go over something completely different. It could be another freaking budget cut.
Yeah.
Like, we're releasing Johnny Ace due to budget cuts. And since he's not an on-screen talent, they could probably do it relatively quiet. I mean, people are still going to find out about it. But, I mean, Johnny could be the fall guy without them coming out and saying, this is the reason why. I don't know. I'm spitballing. Like, in my heart of hearts, deep down, I truly believe Vince McMahon will get away with this.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, I can't give you a justification as to why. But like, Vince just seems like one of those dudes where nothing sticks and nothing will stick, and he will outlast every scandal and every accusation. Ugh.
And Beef, we know someone that's like personally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And some people, man, it's one of those things where it's one of those things where their shit don't stink. Like, and you know what? More power to anyone who can be lucky enough to have that. You know what I mean?
I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But
like,
the problem is whether you use it for good or whether you use it for evil, because the person that we know uses it generally for good. Like he does. He's a good guy, upstanding citizen, productive, wonderful guy. But there are people who easily go, oh, well then, let's fucking do this.
And I think it's also important to figure out, then this is in line with the money thing, like whether it was Vince's money or the fucking corporation's money. Like, same thing now. Like, if we're gonna find out if Vince has a lot of money to fucking fight this and like make it go away or not. Like, we're gonna find out what fucking Vince McMahon is worth realistically. Because I just, you can only pay for so much to go away. And, like, Vince McMahon's rich, but he ain't that rich. So we'll see.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know. I just, dude.
That is a tough pill to fucking swallow. Like, that's difficult to actually digest. Like, the fact that you're like, well, let's see if he has enough money to do it. I'm like, yeah. Like, we know Vince McMahon has a lot of money, but, like...
He could be like the fucking Big Lebowski, It's just not his money. It's the foundation's money, No, he has fuck you money stored away in some rich person, like, institution. Like... Where it's like all off the books or all completely clandestine that he can just yank from. Yeah, that's likely. Either way, we'll find out. I actually think it's probably going to be a swifter process than not. I don't think they're going to baby cake with it. I think it's either going to happen or it's not going to happen, and that'll be that. I don't know that we'll know by like next week or anything, but I think it's gonna move quick. Speaking of moving quick,
yeah,
Guess who was right the whole time? Welcome to the Beef the Legend Gets the Gloat Hour.
Why?
Uh-oh.
I'm your host, Beef the Legend.
Why?
And you know what? I'm gonna fucking gloat.
Why?
About the fucking loser piece of shit that Jeff Hardy is.
Oh boy, here we go. Ransom,
I
you
What do you
himself.
mean?
Who is? I
What?
missed it.
Jeff Hardy.
No, you're right.
Yes.
I'm not saying you're not wrong. I'm just saying that I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Beef gets on his soapbox and never fucking gets down for 2 years.
There is no soapbox because soapbox implies that I'm saying something that's not true or that I am expanding the truth. I am not. The truth of the matter is
Soapbox implies that you're grandstanding and you're about to fucking grandstand.
Jeffrey Nero Hardy is a slime ball, a fucking waste of space, a human paraquat that deserves nothing.
Oh.
If you are someone who cheers Jeff Hardy, slap yourself on the fucking face right now as hard as you can and ask yourself why.
Beef the Legend's opinions do not reflect that of every single person in this podcast. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying that don't slap yourself in the face.
This man...
Nah, do it. You need to.
This man has...
For unrelated reasons.
...more DUIs than I have carbs in a day. Do you know I eat donuts, man? He what? 5 or 6 DUIs. He showed up fucked out of his mind to fight Sting at Impact. He
Yes.
walked out on WWE like he was fucking in a cloud. He showed up to the last pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, and I'm like, oh man, he seems like he's fucked up. And everyone's like, oh no, he just took a blow to the head early in the match. Oh no.
I did not fucking say that. I agreed with you, ass face. Go ahead and fucking remember that.
His boot was untied.
I'm not saying I'm not saying anybody here. I'm saying that everybody's like, oh, it's something else. It's something. No, he was probably fucked out of his gore with them because people, AEW roster, were like, oh man, Jeff Hardy's drunk in the hotel. And you think he's drunk at this show? Or drunk high, whatever. Yeah, he probably fucking was because he has a problem. And if you're a yutz that is screaming for him in AEW, that's like, I'm so happy Jeff Hardy's here. You're an enabler. You're part of the problem. And when Jeff Hardy kills somebody, the next time he gets behind the wheel of a car fucked out of his mind because he has no fucking repercussions ever, you're going to be part of the blame. All right, maybe that's a little bit extreme, but you get my point. The guy's a fucking loser. He should have been fired. He should not be suspended. He should be fucking fired. There is no redeemable qualities. Get him the fuck out of AEW.
All right, listen, hold on. Listen. Think of your heart blood. This is what his... I think the story that I read was this is his 3rd DUI in 10 years.
I think he's at least 4 or 5.
Well, okay, so, but for the sake of this argument or potential problem here, let's just say this is his 3rd DUI in 10 years. So... the driving with a suspended license or whatever, that's a misdemeanor. Who cares? Yada, yada, yada. But a 3rd DUI within 10 years, I believe, is a felony.
Yeah, man. I saw that.
This dude could be facing a jail time. Not like a night in the drunk tank. This dude could be facing jail time, right?
I hope so. Hope he goes to fucking federal pound you in the ass prison. Fuck that guy.
That's a bit. I don't
think he's going to go to federal pound you in the ass prison. But the problem is he doesn't have the fucking WWE backing on this one, and he Part of me is right there standing next to Beef going, he's standing there grandstanding, and I'm sitting next to him going, yeah! With my little page boy hat on going, yeah, you tell him, yeah! But, the other part of me is going, I feel honestly, I feel bad for him, man. Not because of what he did, not because of the repercussions he has faced, but like, man, this long storied saga of fucking self abuse, like in the ring, the whole spot monkey thing, the self abuse outside of the ring, the constantly having to escape into chemicals and substances and get away from something that,
absolutely.
that you know, like I will not go hardline and be like, go to federal pound you in the ass prison, numbnuts. I'm like, you should face real repercussions for your actions. But man, fucking please get your shit together, man. Because like, when we see Jeff Hardy when he's clear and focused, it's good. But on the other hand, when we see Jeff Hardy not that way, it's fucking tragic. Like tragic.
So I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna relate in a story that hits very close to home. When you enable somebody, and you don't nip something in the bud, and you continue to foster that zero accountability, they will continue to abuse that system until the fucking well is dry. And oftentimes, well beyond that. The fact is, Jeff Hardy has had, and I think of myself as one of the more forgiving members of society. You want a second chance? For fucking real. You want a second chance? Awesome. You want a third chance? Fine. You want a fourth chance? Okay. But like, you have to show some progress. You have to show that you have some redeeming quality, that maybe you have learned something. The only thing I think that Jeff Hardy has learned is that he can continue to fuck up his life and everybody will still cheer their hearts out when he comes out and he does his little dance and he puts on his little fucking gimmick makeup and he looks too cool and he jumps off of something really high and hurts somebody. Jeff Hardy figured out that he has the get out of jail free card.
I have to point a little bit of the blame towards these companies that continue to hire him.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not. I can't make them shoulder a lot of blame, but I feel like if they are aware that Jeff Hardy has this continuing problem with alcohol, is that what it is? Is it strictly alcohol or is it drugs too?
It was alcohol this time.
Yeah, I think he's had a history of both. I think he's had a history of both. Okay,
so when this dude clearly has drug and alcohol abuse problems, like it's no one is sugarcoating anything. Jeff Hardy has a very big problem. And when these companies continue to hire him, I feel like that's part of the enabling.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. And again, it's a slippery slope. It's tough because like you're running a business. And if this guy's going to be good for your business and bring you money, you want to hire him in hopes that he'll be able to clean his act up. But I think there comes a point where you, as a company, need to say, unless you clean yourself up and stay clean, and there's no more of this, we can't bring you on as an employee. We cannot hire you. Or they need to have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to people like Jeff Hardy. Like, okay, so you're good now, but know this. One time, you get pulled over for drinking and driving one time, or you get busted with drugs one time, you're done. That voids your contract. You're out. Goodbye. And WWE never did that. They continued to employ him through, DUI after DUI after substance abuse, this, that, and the other thing. Like, nothing stopped. And now he's going to AEW, and sure, they did suspend him, but I feel like there needs to be something. Like, This dude should not be able to go to a major promotion and make buckets of money and continue to have these problems. Like, he needs to clean himself up before a company will bring him on.
Are you both sitting down?
Yeah.
Because I'm about to say something. WWE handled this way better than AEW did.
Oh my lord, what?
When Jeff Hardy fucked off to the crowd.
Last episode of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Beef gave WWE some fucking credit. Bye.
We'd like to thank our gracious sponsors.
That's not true. I've given credit where credit's due many times. But my point here is that when Jeff Hardy fucked off to the crowd in that house show, they said, "Listen, man, you need some fucking help. End of list. You need some fucking help. If you don't get help, you're not working here anymore." And Jeff Hardy says, "Bee-boo, bee-boo. I was shopping anyway, so fuck that and fuck you too. I'm leaving." And he fucking pouted his way into getting it exactly what he wanted, which was going to AEW. Tony Khan, who has invested all this money in Jeff Hardy because, you know, Tony Khan is going to be Tony Khan. He believes that ex-WWE years are the end-all be-all. And that's debatable. But, like, he, for whatever reason, saw all this money in Jeff Hardy. So now, you're faced with a choice. And ironically, it's the same choice that the Cleveland Browns are facing with Deshaun Watson. You either stand by your guy and you say, "All right,
stand by your man.
Fucking figure it out. We got all this money invested in you."
Arms to cling to. Oh wait, we're not doing the Blues Brothers bit? Okay.
Let's see if you can fix it and make us some money. Or the other option is saying, "Fuck you, your taillights." If I'm Tony Khan and I have Tony Khan money, and I you know, I understand businesses. I get that, you know, it's difficult to make profits and everything. I understand every little bit of that, okay? But at the same time, sometimes you just got to admit that you fucked up. With Jeff Hardy's history, there's no chance that I let him have any kind of a job. And I appreciate that Tony Khan has taken the hardline stance and saying, "Hey, you're not coming back and you're not getting paid till you're clean." But guess what? Jeff Hardy has become quote-unquote clean several times. Remember the last time he was clean and he was talking about how he just threw himself into his music and his art and he was this fucking weirdo fucking abstract artist? Yeah, neither do I. You know why? Because that was fucking 2 or 3 cleans ago.
Oh.
It's easy for excuse me, I'm so fucking brought up to lose my voice.
Yes.
It's easy for an addict to say, "Oh, I'm clean. I'm good," when the times are easy. But, like, you know, a smoker is a smoker when the chips are down. So, like...
Yeah, they are.
When you're faced with that decision, how you react proves whether you are clean or you're an addict. And Jeff Hardy's like a 6-time loser.
Oh.
He has gotten away with more shit than if this is any other sport, he's not employed. If this is any other walk of life, he's not employed. But because, and I think Ransom said it earlier, because this is like a niche weirdo because wrestling's this fucking weirdo fucking niche thing, somehow he can go out off his ass and wrestle one of the biggest legends of all time and have it forgotten about and get not 1 but 2 big money contracts. I just don't understand.
Big money Mac contracts?
Somebody will have to explain to me what the hell the appeal of an old man Jeff Hardy is that he's garnering all this fucking support after being a fucking 5 or 6 time loser. I don't get it. Poot, help me.
Dude, I just think it's because his value to companies, because the masses love him, have offered him protection. Fucking, you've seen it happen with so many celebrities. You're treating it like it's something, I think, a little bit like in a bubble. This is shit that happens with celebrities of all sorts, of all walks of life, of all walks of art, all the fuck you time. Like it's not a normal. Look at what's fucking happening with Ezra Miller, for fuck's sake. Like, he keeps fucking up. He keeps being a shitbird. He keeps doing that, and he keeps having Daddy Universal Media come and save his ass. It's just recently that they're like, is the juice worth the squeeze with this dick face? Why don't we go get the guy from the TV show? He's way better. And I agree. Ezra Miller sucks. As Flash. But that's my point. Dude, you see that shit? Look at the fucking 80s. You name a band from the 80s, the fucking shit they did and they got protected from all the fucking time. My God, if Motley Crue did the shit they did back in the 80s today, they'd be crucified, skinned, and have their fucking balls fed to rabid wolverines, and not the rabid Wolverines. Like, you're acting like this is fucking abnormal. Look at the fucking shit that like celebrities do now. Look at the fucking way that musicians act on tour. Look at the dude. Like, this is
Has
not
anybody
something
watched the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial?
They look They look at.
All right.
They look at. No. I'm not done. My point with this is, for companies that want to make money, Jeff Hardy's problems do not outweigh the money they will make and the money they will pay him. This is where the line between morality and business is drawn. They bring him on, like, but that's the thing is, I'm like, you're crucifying Jeff Hardy because of like, you're acting like he's the first celebrity to fucking do this shit.
All right,
he's not.
Yeah, okay, but like, normally, celebrities, okay, so like drug usage is one thing, and I understand what you're saying there, but like when we're talking about DUIs, man, normally one DUI is enough to ruin a career. But they can sometimes rebound and have a great career.
Robert Downey Jr., Kiefer Sutherland.
Right.
Yeah, but
Jeff
that's
Hardy,
not the only thing that they fucking did wrong.
But this is the third time Jeff Hardy has had a DUI.
If I may,
NFL players who make big fucking money, who are some of the most talented people in the world, NBA players, it doesn't matter. They get 2 DUIs, their taillights, they're fucking out, because every organization is like, this is a pattern, and you can see it. This is not news.
I know it's not news, but again, you're holding this human being in this industry to a standard. And you ready? I'm going to go out on this limb. It's going to be fragile, and I'm under 350 pounds, so I'm going to fucking try. So here's what I'm going to do. Jeff Hardy is held to, you're asking him to be held to the standard of an NBA football or baseball player. I'm sorry. They do not have the carny bullshit that wrestling does. If you really want to get technical and you want to go ahead and throw kayfabe and all this shit out of the way, by the way, I'm going to preface this statement. Wrestlers are fucking incredible athletes. They are. They are incredible athletes. Beef, not the same thing. It is not the same thing. It's not regulated the same way. Wrestling is not treated like a sport when it comes to the governing bodies in states or on a federal level. They are treated like an entertainment company, i.e., the same type of way that you treat, I don't know, movies and TV shows. Hell, it even bleeds over into MMA. Like, wrestling is held to a different standard because it's not a sport in their technical standpoint. It is entertainment. So therefore, they're held to a different standard because you can treat them like quote unquote actors. Like, that's the thing, is that it's not baseball, it's not basketball, it's not tennis, it's not Olympic fucking curling, it's not strongman. It's professional wrestling. There will always be an entertainment, Hollywood, vampire aspect to all this, and a carny aspect to it.
I don't disagree with any of that. My point is, how many celebrities can you name that have more than 2 DUIs that are still getting good work? And I'm not talking, so like if we're gonna follow this thread, which I agree, wrestling is entertainment, we're gonna treat AEW and WWE like the fucking MCU and fucking Harry Potter, like 2 giant fucking franchises that have boatloads of cash. How many times would you see somebody with more than 1 DUI get cracks at either the MCU or Harry Potter? You know the answer to that question? Nobody. How about more than 2 DUIs? How about 3 DUIs and drug problems? My point here is that, yes, and I understand that celebrities are different than athletes, and I understand that wrestlers are a weird hybrid of the two. But I can't name any celebrity that has more than 3 DUIs or more that has a successful career currently.
I bet, and I don't know this for sure, but Hollywood is a fucked up place. I'm willing to bet that if the 4 of us on this P3 spent a half an hour looking things up on the old Google machine, we could probably come up with at least a half dozen celebrities
easily
that have had, maybe not in 2022, but who, within the last 10 to 15 years have had an extensive career in acting that have 2 to maybe 4 DUIs.
Beef.
I would put money on that.
If I may borrow a quote from one of my favorite movies, Airheads. Shit, Vince Neil killed a guy and he only got 30 days.
I've been sitting here trying to Google, and all I'm finding is celebrities that have like 1, maybe 2 DUIs. And like those are like bottom of the barrel, like Lindsay Lohan. She ain't getting work no more. She certainly ain't gonna fucking be in the MCU or fucking Harry Potter. Like that's my point. If you're going to equate wrestling to Hollywood, then you have to admit that AEW and WWE are like the tippy top. Yes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's a lot more going on in Hollywood than just Harry Potter and the MCU.
Right, but like tippy top moneymakers, Star Wars.
Yeah,
I guess would probably be another
lot of shit out there that makes a lot of money.
But like legacy franchises that have been around a while that have made tons of money. It's like those, but you understand what I'm saying. The bottom line is,
what you're saying,
these mega legacy franchises that make all the fucking money in Hollywood, stay away from these type of people because they give you fucking problems. Because they bring negative attention to your movie, to your franchise, regardless of how much positive shit they bring you. Look at Disney. Or not Disney, Harry Potter. All right. Johnny Depp was in the Grunewald franchise. And they dropped him like a bad habit the minute that anything bad was said about him. And
what was it, Beef? What was it?
Wasn't
false.
DUI.
No, but even though it was all false, Disney still dropped him at the mention of, or not Disney, I keep saying Disney. Harry Potter dropped him at the drop of a hat because they're like, this isn't
Disney too with pirates.
Yeah, well, yeah, Disney did too. Because they're like, regardless of whether this is true or not, some shit's gonna come out And by the way, it did, to prove that he's not the best person.
What again, that you're comparing apples and oranges as far as things like that are unsavory.
I'm still waiting for you to tell me.
If he would have gotten a DUI, they would have slapped him on the wrist, and that would have been the end of it.
I'm still waiting for you, Captain Google, to tell me a celebrity that's had more than 2 DUIs that's had a really successful career.
I'm not in front of my Google machine right now.
I'm not talking about you. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
please
Ransom, you handle this because I'm having fun with this argument. My point is, you are again, you're comparing apples and VW bugs, man. Like, you can't compare any kind of battery or sexism or anything like that to a DUI. I just
agree.
Can't.
DUIs are way worse.
Whoa, dude, cowboy.
Dude, a DUI is weaponizing a fucking like multi-ton weapon and saying, fuck it, roll the dice.
There's also people who willingly, while they're sober, drive 95 miles an hour on the interstate. That's weaponizing a fucking car.
I agree, and they're shitbags too. That's notwithstanding. My point here is that, and I'm obviously being a little fast and loose with this. Obviously, I'm not. Obviously, I'm not saying that like DUI is like the worst thing in the world.
No, but like we're grandstanding and be a lot of puffery right now, but we're on a roll.
My point is that I was right the whole fucking time. Jeff Hardy's a loser. He was a loser. He is a loser. Spoiler alert: he's always going to be a fucking loser. End of list.
So can I chime in here?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, one point I want to make, Ransom, real quick. It's real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go
ahead. You're good.
I just want to say, I feel like beef is just I would say safely a decade, has wanted Jeff Hardy to fucking like fall off the map and die. There's a lot of premeditated Jeff Hardy hate here. You have hated Jeff Hardy for a long time.
Again, I don't wish death upon anybody, but yes, I absolutely have been rooting against Jeff Hardy for a long time.
Well, but
here's the thing.
Even whenever
the thing. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You're just an asshole.
Am I wrong? Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear.
Okay, so I can't remember everything I wanted to say in this diatribe of back and forth when the universe collides here between beef and poot. But I mean, I'm trying to think of where I need to go here. Too many rabbit holes. Wrestling, again, is its own little niche universe where you can fuck up so many times in wrestling, and the masses who aren't wrestling fans will forget about it very quickly. It doesn't happen in the NFL or the NHL. Like 2 and you're done, because that has many more eyes on it. That gets much more coverage. It's much more. It's much more in people's lives. Like, I hear about shit that happens in the NFL and other major sporting, franchises, and I don't sport at all. I don't watch any sports, just because. I mean, nothing against any of these sports. It just never interested me. I never watched them as a child. I don't watch them as an adult. It's just, I don't watch them. But I hear about all these things, player fuck-ups, all these different calamities that befall teams and players and coaches and this and that and the other thing, because it's so well covered. And wrestling doesn't have that. Wrestling doesn't have that type of global mass coverage that all these other sporting franchises have. So the average person that watches the news, that hears about, Jeff Hardy DUI, if they're not a wrestling fan, 2 weeks from now, they will have completely there's so much shit going on in the world that they will have completely forgotten who Jeff Hardy is. Who had a DU? What now? When? How many was it? I don't know. What was this guy in? Oh, I don't know. I think he boxed. Like, people forget about it because it's not like I mean, it is a major thing, but it's a major thing in its own little universe. And yeah, Jeff Hardy has fucked up many times. But taking a step back outside of the Jeff Hardy vitriol that is wrestling and wrestling fans and things like that, this is clearly a dude that is an addict. This is clearly a dude who is in need of some severe help. You know, I don't know how many DUIs he's had, or how many he's had, and how many years or whatnot. You know, it's just one of the stories that I read said I think it was 3 and 10 years. It could be more. Very well could be more, like Beef said. But when you step back and look at it, like this is a person who has a problem. And the problem isn't getting treated. The person isn't getting the help that they need. And I don't know why. I can't tell you why this person isn't getting the help that they need or the treatment that they require. You know, everybody has their own beliefs and everyone is welcome to it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. But my belief is, unless you're willing to admit that you have a problem, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling, some other form of addiction, whatever it may be, if you don't recognize in yourself, this is an issue, this is a problem, I need help. If you can't take that step, no one can take that step for you. So while I feel like these companies shouldn't be hiring Jeff Hardy or should be having a zero tolerance for him, the dude clearly is in need of some genuine, severe aid. But that aid can't come if he's not willing to take that step and recognize that he has a problem and help himself. You see that in all sorts of addicts, drug addicts, you know, alcoholics. If you don't take that step yourself, no one can force you into it. Like, you know, you've seen it several, you can probably, once again, go to the internet and look up a celebrity or whoever that was forced into mandatory rehab or whatever the case may be. They're in there for as long as they have to be, then they're out and they go right back to it. I think the bottom line is, until Jeff Hardy recognizes that he has an issue and takes drastic steps to help himself, I fear this is a pattern that's going to keep repeating, regardless of whether or not he's employed at a wrestling company. Like, I think if AEW fires him and no major promotion picks him up again, if he just gets the Ric Flair indie work, I think it'll continue until he cleans himself up. It won't get better. It won't get better for him. And Beef's right. There's clearly a very well documented, my God, pattern of self-abuse when it comes to Jeff Hardy. and yeah, like I worry that, you know, it could go one of a few different ways. Like he could recognize that he has an issue and it's not getting better. He could take steps to remedy it, and he could come back and have a true comeback story, which, you know, wrestling storyline or fan aside, I hope he does. I hope he cleans himself up. I hope he hits that rock bottom and gets the help he needs. But if he doesn't, I mean, it really could end with a very violent end, either for himself or he could wind up in prison for killing somebody. And Those are the scary thoughts. Like, this dude could die in a drunk driving accident. He could plow into a tree or a barrack. He could plow into a number of different things, dead.
Mhm.
He could plow into a family in an SUV or a minivan and wipe out a mother, a father, and some kids. And that's the horrific thought in all this. Like, it's not just self-abuse. Like, this dude's putting the general public in danger with his actions. And I can't, I'm not cheerleading the whole, like, Jeff Hardy, you big fat loser, look at you, I was right, yada yada yada. Beef, you're welcome to that. And I don't chastise you for it. But I hope this dude gets some help before he does some real damage to an innocent third party and destroys somebody or destroys a family. Like, that's a horrific thought, and I hope it doesn't come to that.
Well, and the other thing is too, I mean, if you look back on like the Hardys' career, if you ever watch any of their documentaries or you watch anything, they had a good home life. I mean, like, they had all these things. It's just, there's something in Jeff Hardy that needs addressed. I don't want to say
absolutely.
fixed. I don't like the word fixed. I think that's a misnomer where people go, you can feel broken, but that doesn't mean that you are. You know what I mean? It means that you have something in you that you have to prove. There's some kind of imbalance. There's some kind of personal vendetta against yourself. And I think we can all safely say we've been at that, maybe not to the extremes that Jeff Hardy's been, but we've all been there at some point in our lives where we feel like, how do I, where you don't want to deal with it, you want to escape from it. But when someone's on this kind of track where they just numb and never address it, that's scary. It's again, I don't want to even say bad. I want to say scary. So yeah, I hope
it is.
And I agree with Ransom and Beef. You know what? I will give you all the credit in the world. Maybe fucking Jeff Hardy needs someone like you who's close to him, like in the sense of like someone that'll say the shit that you've said and look at him and go, smack him in the mouth and be like, quit being a fuck up. Maybe he needs that. Maybe he doesn't need mollycoddling, because sometimes you don't need a soft hand. You need a fist and a velvet glove. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you need. And
you need the flat of a sinewy right hand. Wow.
I'll tell you what. Listen, I told people, I said, I joked. Obviously, the way I'm going to say this is a joke. But my dad beat the shit out of me when I was a kid, and I turned out all right-ish. Like that. But no, like, there's a difference, but like, maybe occasionally you need a slap in the mouth or a slap on the ass and be like, listen, get your shit together. And you go, oh, fuck, I have been an asshole, but whatever it is, I like to reiterate what Ransom said. I hope he can address it because, I personally don't think the world would be better without a Jeff Hardy in it.
I disagree with one thing you said there, and I think he does need fixed. I think he's, no puns here, 100% no puns. I think he's broke. I think he's broken. I think addicts need fixed, and it's fixed is not a derogatory term. Like, I'm not meaning it as a derogatory term, but there's some sort of imbalance there somewhere. And they're broken in a way, and I think they need fixed. I think Jeff Hardy needs a good fixing. I don't know what that is. I don't know if he needs a self come to Jesus moment. I don't know if he needs somebody to bring him there and hold his hand along the way or give him that swift kick in the ass. But like, I think when you're that type of addict, there's a problem. And
well, there's a problem, but again, it's just like sometimes it's different perspectives. You know what I mean?
I think each case is different. Like, I think
Agreed.
There are some addicts who get to that point because of some sort of trauma in their life. And I think some people get to that point because they're in need of fixing. Like maybe no horrific trauma drove them to that point. Maybe alcohol is just one of those things where they got into it and they couldn't control it and they just became addicted to it. Like I've known a few people who fell victim to heroin and opioids, and they're gone now. And not they didn't have, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I can't diagnose it. I'm not a medical professional. Something needs to happen with Jeff Hardy, though. He can't continue on this path. I don't know. I got nothing.
I hope to be fucking wrong, but I just don't see a fix for him. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And again, I am a very forgiving person. I'm all about second chances. I'm all about third chances, fourth chances. But again, you got to show me that you're capable of learning. And I've never gotten that with Jeff Hardy because again, he's never had to. Because he does something fucking stupid. He gets a slap on the wrist and then he gets paid. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's been the exact that's
an enabler's pattern.
That is his pattern. He does something stupid, doesn't get near the consequences he should, and then gets a big fucking payday from somebody.
Yeah, it's an enabler's pattern.
And I mean, he's not The Rock, he's not Stone Cold, he's not John Cena. I just in a niche market, he's a niche character. And it's true. Like Poot said, I've never been a Jeff Hardy guy. I've never understood what people get about Jeff Hardy. I can see it. He's full of charisma, but underneath that charisma's a lot of fucking botch.
Well, I agree with that, but it's also, dude, charisma, when someone knows how to when someone has a 10 in charisma, man, it's addictive.
I mean, you could talk your way out of a lot of shit.
Yeah, and I get it. But it's I don't know, man. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong. Because I don't really hope the worst for anybody in this world. I'm not really an asshole. I just play one on this podcast. I mean, I am an asshole, but I don't really hope the worst for people. I want to see people do better, and he's one that I really think has a story that I think would benefit from a redemption. I just don't know if we'll see it. But you guys just want to do a mega show tonight? Pull it a little bit longer here.
Yeah, I mean we've gone for a while. We've covered a number of topics.
We're at an hour and 23 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
My vote here, ladies and gents, and the fellows on the pod, is we call this a super show week. Have a little bit of a longer episode. So maybe we could get a quick burrito and get out of here, and we'll come back next week full force.
Yeah, we can do that. You guys want that burrito? You want that fucking burrito?
Quick burrito.
You fucking want that burrito? What?
Guess what next week is?
What?
Picks, motherfucker!
Oh!
Next week.
Fuck! All right, on that note, real quick burrito. Thank you to Casual Gaming Dad and his page on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, Casual Gaming Dad and Casual Gaming Dad 84, respectively. Thank you very much to Gould Gaming for carrying all the awesome Casual Gaming Dad merch. Again, that's gouldgaming.com. Search on Casual Gaming Dad. Also, thank you for having the P3 Podcast t-shirt. Get your very own. Bitches, it's not $49.99. Give me a you idiots ransom.
You idiots.
Oh, there it is, a trademark. It sounds so great. Thank you to Sean Tischler for his work with wrestling in the central and western PA area. Frankly, all over Pennsylvania. Thank you, Sean. Belch. And I want to also thank very much Frig Off Ransom. What a wonderful YouTube channel and a wonderful boy who runs said YouTube channel. For myself, the Barbarian, Poot the Bard. Leaving off the Bay. We're just going with the Barbarian, Poot the Bard. You know what? Branding. It's important. The encyclopedia of the P3 podcast, Mr. Beast the Legend, and the best.
Nope.
You know what? I'm going to let Ransom do it.
Nope. My advocate gives me the outro.
Yeah, well, I
Ransom.
just said I'm going to let Ransom do it, and you interrupted me for agreeing with you, so you know what? Whatever, you're not the best. Anyway, you know what? Ransom the Madman over here, I'm going to hand it over to him so he can do it properly. Give it to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ransom the Madman. You know me, you hate me, you love me. It's hard to tell. I don't even know some days about myself either. But I do represent I do represent the most legendary cruiserweight champion that has ever been on the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast. This is a man who can outpick you on his worst day. This guy shines up a title and makes it look super sparkly pretty. He'll put it up on his shelf and he'll admire it. When you come to his house, you'll look at it and go, damn, this guy is a somebody. And this somebody, ladies and gentlemen, is your cruiserweight champion. The man with the gold around his illustrious waist. The guy who will take you down in a number of picks, and you'll never see it coming. This is the champion of champions, ladies and gentlemen. My man, Beef the Legend.
It's a hell of an outro.
Thanks for listening. Sign it off.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.